Sakwalenga bajerechi, ao sing me kubago. Sakwalenga bajerechi, Sakwalenga bajerechi, ao Sakwalenga.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anu. It's been a very interesting conversation with you and Emmanuel about this amazing instrument. Moving on to the next question, Emmanuel mentioned something very, very important and crucial among the Sahel region, the trade routes. This trade route be between Niger and Chad, Nigeria, Ghana, and that connects, most of these ethnic groups and countries in Western Africa. So let's bring it back to this instrument that we're talking about today. Like you mentioned, Anu, when you were talking about the history of this instrument, you mentioned that this instrument is very popular, can be seen among Sahelian culture, the Hausas, the Dambuba of Ghana, the even the Fula people, the Songhai, the Malian Empire also. So, do you think the popularity of this instrument was made possible through these trade routes across the Sahel?
Thank you very much, Kosi. I would say yes. And why I say so is that anything that has to do with trade, there's always exchange. Aside the exchange of goods, there's usually exchange of culture and exchange of, how will I put it, of ideas. Naturally, when you just imagine when you go to a supermarket to buy something, or you go to an open market and you buy consistently from somebody, there's a particular way this person will start to greet you whenever this person sees you, yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
So imagine people traveling on a route almost every other. Well, I don't know about other culture, but I'm just talking of Nigeria now and probably maybe Africa. Uh, you just see that naturally, when you consistently buy from somebody in open market, you start to get an endearing name. Sometimes you exchange gist, and then sometimes you ask whether you want to buy something, you don't know where it is. You ask this, says, madam, where can I get this? And then she will direct you, or she will say, no worry, my brother they sell them, and then she will direct you to her brother, and then like that you start to form indirectly a community. So now imagine music, imagine every other thing that will be exchanged as people. And then, now, then it was, how will I put it, mobile trading. If a very old referrer will be the story of Joseph in the Christian story when his brother sold him. They said the Ishmaelites were traveling, they saw the caravan, and his brother sold him to them. So, and then you can see that during those days, they would have had mobile traders, people moving from one community to another, buying and selling what they have, giving, exchanging, learning language, learning, enjoying music. Sometimes we stay in the inn, we listen to their music, we see their instruments. Oh, this is nice. Maybe pick it, take it along, and then go to unity. So it's very possible, especially because these people were mobile traders, and then they had time to interact. Because, for example, if somebody that's traveling from, let's say, Ghana, northern Ghana, all the way to Mali by foot and camel, or even all the way to Morocco by foot and camel, will not be traveling, will not be going on a 1 day trip, or even 2 days, or even 1 week. There'll be times that the camel has to rest. So we bed in an oasis or bed in a community, wait there 1 or 2 days for the animals to rest and recuperate before they move on. And then they will interact with the people. They will interact with the language, interact with their music, interact with, even sometimes you see people, traders like that, have families, marry a woman in this community because they see he's wealthy, they give the daughter. So she's like his anchor in that community, goes to another community, marry another woman there, have family there. And because that's his route, he's traveling year in, year out, buying, selling, buying, selling. And then like that, he start to adopt the culture and take it to the next village, take it to the next people. And then like that. So I strongly feel that trading would have been a very good carrier, or will I say would have been a very good platform for which the Goje would have traveled between the communities and among the people, and then giving them its name, as it comes into their community and they begin to adopt it into their music and custom. So that's what I will have to say to that. Thank you.
Very interesting thought, and I also agree. I think it played a very big role in the in popularizing these instruments among the Sahelian ethnic groups, and like you mentioned, this trade routes was not just for goods; it was also where you exchange cultures and customs, and also music traditions, because when you meet other musicians, you exchange techniques, or you even exchange instruments, and then when the person goes back, there's a little tweak on this instrument, and it becomes a totally different instrument for them. And because we've seen the expansion of this instrument, I think there's a similar instrument to this in Ethiopia and in Eastern Africa. I think it's called the masenko. Same bow instruments, but then when you see the distance between where this instrument originated, there's high possibility that it's this reading route that might have pushed that instrument far and wide. So thank you so much for mentioning that. Just a follow-up question to what we're talking about this trading routes and this exchange of cultures and music traditions. While this instrument is being exchanged between people of different Sahelian cultures, do you think the playing style is going to change as it moved between different cultures? Like for example, like I mentioned, where you have a different instrument from Ethiopia, similar to Goje, but then the design is totally different. So, do you think the playing style, particularly, is going to change as it moves between cultures? Emmanuel?
Oh yeah, I think the playing style, from my experience, with all these instruments, has remained largely the same. It's just a string play, and I don't see any much difference in the styles that the Goje is played versus the one used in the Gnawa music, for instance. And for all the instruments that we've seen across the countries of the Sahel, the playing style has largely remained the same, even though they function in different bodies or in different genres. The musical genre might be different because of other accompanying instruments. If you look at it like in Hausa, mostly in modern day Hausa music, it is accompanied with a drum that looks like a small drum that looks like a batter drum. But in our music, for instance, is accompanied by the clapping instruments. What I forget the name now.
The crackhead.
The cracker, yes, and the Gwembe the drum. So I think that style-wise, the playing style remains the same. Listening to them all. Also, it's that same playing style that you find in the violin.
Yeah, very, very valid thoughts, Emmanuel. And I also agree with you about a little bit of tweak or change when it's being used, in different genres. Because when you look at the Goje, for example, in the general Hausa music tradition, it's usually sits as the lead instrument or the major instrument, or let's say the most prominent instrument that you could hear in the ensemble. And then when you go to the likes of Mali, where you have the Songhai and Wasulu music, the Malian jaka, which is also a variant of this Goje instrument in Mali that is being used in Wasulu music, has this repetitive playing style, unlike the Goje, where you see ornamentations and the player trying to mimic exactly how he's singing. or how the vocal style of the outside, it's quite different when you see these instruments and it's you in Wasulu, for example. So yeah, I agree with you on the difference in playing style or technique being because of the genre, the music genre it's being used.
Before we move on, I know did mention about how Goje plays a role in Sakara music, which is on the surface level of it thought to be a Yoruba music genre, but I also know that Sakara music is very popular in Ilorin, which is and Ilorin stands as that bridge between the Yoruba culture and the Hausa culture. Has a lot of the predominant culture in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, it's a mix of Hausa and Yoruba. So I would say I think that's it plays that role in Sakara music because of that, the involvement of or the predominance of the Hausa culture in Kwara State.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thought, and I also agree with you because when you look at Sakara music was started by the Yoruba Muslim musicians, and what you mentioned about the dominance of Muslims and the Hausa in Ilorin, which is where this genre is very dominant, plays a role because you try to mix your culture and your religion into what you are doing most of the time. It can be seen in Igbo tradition. Most times when you see Christians use the Oja, which is a very core part of the Igbo tradition in consecration in Catholic churches, or even doing Christian music. But let's hear what Anu has to say.
Thank you very much, Kosi and Emmanuel. I never saw that bridge, Emmanuel. Thanks for bringing that to fore. That bridge between the religion and then the culture, the two main traditional or will I say ethnic group that you can find in the lorry. But the interesting thing is that usually when music um, migrates from the inter to cities like Lagos, it evolves over time. It evolves, it gets adopted into mainstream preference. I would have thought that probably when Sakara came into Lagos, because one of the key progenitors of Sakara music, that's the Abibu guy, would have maybe, how will I put it, would have evolved it when they brought it to Lagos. But the Goje still remained a very prominent instrument in Sakara music, meaning that will I say became acculturized into the Yoruba culture, and then they just adopted it because naturally, if you look at high life, what became of it when juju music came into it, the introduction of the Nigerian drums, and then also when it all evolved into the Igbo high life, the new instruments that came into it. But Sakara never went through that. Even for Fuji, evolving from Were, Apala, and then what we see of Fuji music, we saw introduction of more modern instrument into it, but we didn't see that with Sakara. So I feel that I quite agree because of the two ethnic groups and the overlay in the Islamic religion played a very key role in the Yoruba artists adopting Goje. But I feel that there's a bit much more to it that probably we don't know. because as I said, there would have been occasions for these guys to drop it and replace it probably with a guitar or with something more string instrument, but they didn't do that. So that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Sakwalenga bajerechi, sakwalenga bajerechi, awo sakwalenga bajerechi, awo sangme kubago. Sakwalenga bajerechi, awo sangme kubago, sakwalenga bajerechi, sakwalenga.